One of the greatest feelings that I have is when my guests think they're talking to me, but they're not. They're talking to Hospitable. I got involved about 5 years ago. It was a way for me to generate extra income. I went through a divorce and just needed a way to kind of recover financially. I was living in a house by myself and had extra space. So I converted the garage into a rental. And I've never done anything like that before. And I put it on Airbnb and it was super successful. I recouped the initial renovation expense within maybe 2 or 3 months. And then from there, it was just great revenue. Well, I manage properties in Southern California. We're in Big Bear, California right now at what I call the Bel Air of Big Bear. And during the pandemic, I traveled to Panama, the country of Panama. And there with friends, we created a property management company down there as well. Where we're at right now, which is the Bel Air of Big Bear, it's just magical. Since I've become the owner, I have enhanced the property. I've added an extra bedroom. I've put in all the automation. A lot of the furnishings have been redone. And what I love about it is it's able to accommodate a large group of people. It doesn't feel cramped. People can separate across the property and just have elbow room, which you kind of want here. It's in a community where you're not butted up against other properties. All of the properties have very large homes on very large pieces of land, and this area is just fantastic. It's a 5-star experience. You walk in, you've got the TVs on, you got music on, the lights are set. I'm a techie, so everything is like smart everything. So the light switches and I can turn on the fireplace remotely and things like that. So I really like to have that unique experience for guests, and the feedback that we get from them shows that we're doing a good job. I didn't necessarily think it was going to be sort of fun business to begin with. Initially, I thought it was a business about cleaning and operations, but you do get to interact with fun guests, and it's always kind of interesting to be that shepherd in the city. People that are coming out of town and just want some advice. And one of the great things about Hospitable is that it makes that process a little bit easier. You can already define things like guest books and recommendations within various aspects within their system, such as like what they call canned responses that you use over and over again. And so you basically learn as you go along, and you always improve your operations. So one of the things that I love about Hospitable is their AI integration. I've been with Hospitable for, I think, roughly 3 years now. And so I was there before AI was a feature. And so you would have to have canned responses for most things that were repetitive. And that was useful. Now with AI, it just takes it up another notch. And I have seen remarkable improvements in their implementation during that time. The other thing is that most of the communication that I do across our properties are in Spanish. And the AI works in Spanish. It is unbelievable. One of the reasons why I just couldn't get off of Hospitable was their language integration. A lot of competitive companies to Hospitable, they might have guest responses that could be in multiple languages. But what Hospitable does that nobody else has figured out is, what do you do in a scenario when the guest doesn't have a defined language? So a lot of times when you have an Airbnb account as a guest, you say, well, I speak English or Spanish, but sometimes they don't say what they speak at all. So then how does the portal know how to respond to them? Well, what Hospitable has done is they look at the guest message and they figure out they spoke in French, they spoke in Spanish, they spoke in English. So now all of the guest responses, I'm just going to follow in that language. So if they speak in English and Spanish, but they start in Spanish, they're just going to be receiving all of the automation using my Spanish templates that I've already created. In terms of AI, the same thing. If they might ask a question about whether they have a barbecue at the rental or something like that. Well, the AI knows all of my amenities for that property. And so I just hit that AI button and it will respond in Spanish because that's the language that we've been communicating with. A lot of the challenges that we have with property management is just bad guests. And so one of the things that really Hospitable helps with is all of the communication with the guests. Some of them are answered automatically or automagically, and others we use AI and then we augment the response, which has been great. And others are just canned responses that we use over and over again. A lot of the needy guests can be overwhelming. So I look at my time as a commodity and my team's time as a commodity. So anything that I can do to reduce the amount of time interacting with the guests and even interacting with the property is great for operations, and Hospitable definitely helps. After we started adding a lot more properties to our portfolio and I had multiple companies that I became the managing partner of, it became clear that I needed to look beyond and see what other options there were. I looked at probably 30 different Hospitable competitors, and it was just Hospitable that just stood out. What I love about Hospitable is they have a fantastic support team. There have been times where they have transitioned new features in that were either confusing or maybe a little bit of kind of a buggy feel, and they are just really on top of it and really help to shepherd you through that process. They've fixed bugs for me within moments, or at the most days, and I love every time they have a new feature because I just know it's going to be amazing. They often catch up with your needs. There are times where technology or expectation within the industry sort of exceeds their current feature set. And one of the things I like about Hospitable is if you're patient enough and you work with their support and development team, they will try to meet your needs. And it's all about timing. So if you give it a little bit, you might be surprised. What I like about Hospitable is they have so many features rolled into one. One feature that I really like that they rolled out recently is their smart device management. Before, you would have to use maybe an outside company, and you're incurring an additional monthly cost so that they're managing the locks. But now it's built into Hospitable. And the same thing with the direct booking portal. What I like about the direct booking portal is it allows me to increase my profit margins. Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com, obviously they take a commission, and that commission can be sizable. You're looking at roughly 15% markup or commission fee that they're taking. But with the direct booking portal, it allows you to be in more control. Also, I'm not beholden to whatever policies or rules or whatever Airbnb implements, or maybe they might penalize me and just kind of cut me off. But with my direct booking portal, I don't have that. I'm in control of my own destiny. One of the things that I'm looking forward to do now that we have a lot of the operations and the messaging sort of figured out. When you first start with Hospitable, it's about setting it up, getting all your messaging figured out. When do you send it? What do you say? And now that we kind of have that sort of muscle memory, we're looking to really expand our direct bookings for the coming year. And that involves using outside marketing tools, whether it's emails or WhatsApp messaging, whether it's also messaging within the reservation itself. You can have experiences inside the property where you might have postings on the walls that allow people to join your Instagram, maybe get future discounts, using promo codes, which is fantastic within Hospitable as well. So one of the things that I would recommend to anyone interested in becoming a short-term rental host is to start with Hospitable. You need to have an automated way to deal with your reservations. And if you're dealing with one property, maybe it's not a necessity and you can get by, but even so, it just saves you time and it reduces error. When you're dealing with 20 and now 30 properties like I am, in multiple countries, in multiple languages, you have to use something like Hospitable, and I would recommend Hospitable, of course. I'm selfishly also looking for myself, so if I have anyone that is looking to rent out their place, I'll try to do that for them. In fact, in many ways, I try to keep Hospitable as my little secret.